Hey, welcome back to the channel. So we got the car ready for paint. We are done with the fabrication part of this thing. There's a few differences I want to point out before I get it to paint. So this car is actually a different version than what they used on Hogan's Heroes, and there's a few differences. Two main differences. One's small, one's big. The small one is that the lights here in this kit are like round marker lights, almost like what semi trucks use. And in the TV show, they were a much smaller turn signal light. They're kind of like the old Volkswagen ones, where you had the old housing that come across, and then you had the little round half moon lens on them. So that's a little bit different. And then the big one is in the back fender. On the Hogan's Heroes car, it came up, and then it dropped down and come across, and then came back up and dropped down again, and it had a footwell right there and a little rubber pad that sat here. And so that allowed you to climb into the back of the car without messing with the front seats. And this obviously doesn't have that. So, I mean, you really can't make a 100% accurate version of it unless you want to start scratch building some stuff. And I'm not really trying to make a 100% accurate version of it, so it's fine. I'm just going to keep the kit the way it is. But the rest of the stuff that I had to do to make it like the car was actually pretty simple, because mostly they just took a bunch of stuff off of it for the production. They took off... Let me move this. So mostly they took off right here. They took off the mirror and the lights. And then on the front end here, they took off these little driving lights in front of the license plate, or that sit on the license plate bracket, I should say. And then they took off whatever these are. I'm not sure. They look like horns. I'm not sure if they are or not. There seems to be one big one underneath the cowl. It's on the firewall. So I don't know exactly what those are, but they weren't on the Hogan's Heroes car, and neither were the flagstaffs. So just everything's just emitted. These, I just had to cut off the nubs where those mounted, and on the light, I just had to cut off the whatever those are, and then just sand off the little remaining of the bracket off the headlight. So that's all that is. And then for the headlights, that's just going to be a little thin piece of clear, and then the rest of the glass was just painted flat black. And that did two things. It gave it a military look, and it kept it from reflecting whatever the camera had going on, so you didn't see any of the scenery or the lights or the camera or anything whenever they showed the front of the car. I know we've talked about that a little bit before, with why they were doing what they were doing with these. So anyway, like I said, we are ready for paint. I mean, it has just gone together so beautifully, and we just gotta get it in primer and then get it painted. And so that will be the next step, and we will head over to the paint area and we will get that going. Hey, welcome back to the paint bench. So as you can see, I primered everything. I did that all off camera. That's actually how I plan on finishing off this video. I don't think you really need to see hours and hours of me painting everything. So I'm just going to give a quick overview of what I'm going to do, and then I'll come back. I'll show you what I did, how I did that, what I did, and we'll just go from there. So what we're going to start off with is we're going to shoot all the black on this car, which we're going to do with my BL2 low gloss black. And that's going to go on the inside of these body panels here, because I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not, but there's some little tabs there. There's little tabs there, and that's where the floor actually fits in. So the floor bottom will be black. The top's going to be a different color black. So we'll paint the bottom. We'll paint the inside of this. We'll paint the inside of these, because they kind of turn out to be little extensions for the fender here, but the rest of it can be blue. Well, blue-gray. So we'll do that, and then we're going to do basically the whole top of this here, and we have to do the inside of these fenders. I don't know if you can see these tabs, but the body actually fits over that, and only a little bit of that's going to be the gray-blue. And then we're going to do all of the undercarriage, and then we're going to weather that back out later on. I'll show you that. And then we're going to do just the inside of the hood here, just in the black, and the back of this. And that's going to be where we're going to stop. And then as soon as we got that done, I'm going to mask a little bit of this off, and then we're going to paint the firewall up here in my silver, my super metal silver, because these were like a bare metal. They look like they're trying to make like a heat shield, and they just left them kind of a bare metal color to reflect some of that heat out. So that's how they were. And we're just going to do that from that line, from that body line. You can see it right there. Do it from there forward, and all that's going to be silver. And then this will all be the black on the bottom, and it'll look pretty nice when we're done. So let me get the fire. Let me get the Let me get the airbrush fired up, and we'll get going on that. And I'll show you what I got done here in a minute. Okay, so we got the car painted. We painted all the underhood black. Looks good. We painted the chassis black, just the frame rails and the inside of here. I'll show you why in just a second. And then we got the entire under part of it painted black. Then we come back in, and like I said before, we sprayed that in silver to mimic that bare metal finish on those. And then we got those, and then the under part black. So I'll show you this. When you put this together, the body clips over these tabs on the fenders. And as you can see, there's the inside there, and that's going to show when the floor's in. The floor just comes straight across there, and that leaves the outside edge of the fender to be left. So we'll just put that together like that. And then that just clips right on there. It's really nice how this thing fits together. I'm super impressed with it. And then that'll be that. And then we'll come back in and we'll shoot all this with this RAL 7031 blue gray. I think it's going to look good for the color of the car on screen. And then we'll just mask off underneath all here. Get the whole bottom of the chassis covered, and then all the fenders and the body and everything's just going to be the blue gray color. And we'll get that done. And on this coat, I'm using on this paint, I'm using a base coat because I want to be able to shoot a gloss clear coat over the doors and this deck lid, because they're supposed to be the German cross on those, like on the TV show. So we can get that done. And I know a lot of you guys are asking, geez, there's some overspray with that black, and that's not going to really affect this. The stuff I sell is not really all that watered down with reducer. So as long as it's not over reduced, it's not going to wash out. It's going to give you a really nice color coat, good coverage. It's going to be great. So let me get that airbrushed, and then I will come back and I'll show you how that all finished off. Okay, so we're back from getting it painted. Body turned out beautiful. That RAL just looks amazing on this thing. Really nice coverage. No, nothing's blotchy, nothing's dry spotted. Looks great. You can see how well it covered that black overspray. Like I said, you know, my paint's not over watered down, so it turns out really nice. So we got the body, we got the upper fender, we got the fenders, the top of the chassis. So that's still all nice looking black. We got that done. We got the metal on the firewall, and then that's how that turned out. A little bit of overspray, which honestly I'm not going to mess with, as I think if you repainted one like this in real life, you would end up with overspray in the same spots. So just turned out really beautiful. I do need to touch up a little bit on the inside here, but I'll figure out how much I need to and where I need to a little bit later. But it's just looking great. Just turned out fantastic. So now we're going to move on to shooting. We're going to move on to the decals. And to do that, we're going to shoot my new honey gloss on them. Great product. I really recommend this. Then after the decals, we're going to shoot our honey matte over pretty much everything. And that'll give everything a real nice sheen to it, and you're not going to notice that the decals are decals. They should blend right in, should look just like they're painted on, like they were on the real car. So that'll be coming up next. We just got to head over to the build desk to do that part of it, and we'll get started on that in just a second. All right, so welcome over to the build bench. We've got the car cleared. You can kind of see the shine on there. I didn't really flood it on there to make it super shiny. I just want the decals to stick to it and not silver. So we're using these decals. They're from Squadron. It's 48018, I guess is the part number on those. I'm using two different sizes. I'm going to use the 910 millimeter ones, which is here and here, and then the black insides that go with them. And then I'm going to use just the 900 one on the trunk. or sorry, I'm going to use the 910s on the doors and the 900 on the trunk, and then 900 is the same thing. So it's a two-part process for the decals. I'm not going to bore you with me cutting them out and putting them on or any of that other stuff. If you want to see me do decals, I can show you how to do them, and we could do that in another video. Definitely leave a comment and I'll look into that. But I'll get on that, and then I'll show you how the work on this is going when we're done. Okay, so we are done with this thing. Those decals were just amazing. I don't know if you can see by the sheen on that or not, but you can't even tell they're decals. They look painted on. All three, both doors and the trunk lid. The only issue I had was I used Solvaset on these, and I goobered up the bottom of this, which I fixed, and you can tell it's not a big deal. It looks like a field repair that somebody did on set, so it's fine. Yeah, just sprayed the whole car with the honey mat, and it just looks great. I'm so happy with how this has turned out. Everything has a nice flat sheen to it. It's all uniform. And I didn't even like spray it really hard. I just held the airbrush back a little bit farther than I normally do. And when you spray, you'll watch it come out of the brush, and it gets only so far out, and then it starts to break up. If you put it right on the edge of where it starts to break up, it'll go on, and it goes on, and it kind of goes on light and just flattens out real quick. And I don't know, I'll have to demonstrate that in a later video. But yeah, it's just perfect. I'm super happy with it. Nothing bad to say about those decals either. Like I said, they went on beautifully. I'm just a little unhappy that they only gave you a limited number of them, because I really would have liked to have stripped off the driver's door one and redone it instead of just touching it up. But that's okay. Like I said, it looks like just a field repair they did for on set. And so now we're done with the paint and the decal work. So now we're going to move on to the interior and getting it all finished up. So that'll be our next video. So please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.